Morning L, B. It is indeed a beautiful sculpt from Black Sun Miniatures and Freeman, sculptor. No, hem dog. I started it yesterday. Nah, it's not actually entirely accurate. I think I actually started it on Monday. I started it on Sunday evening. I didn't do a lot of painting because I finished watching Star Trek Discovery on Sunday, which was awesome. I know you're a fan of that. So started the base coat Sunday night, and then I did a fair bit of painting on Monday because of the lockdown. Monday evening after I finished work, and then that's most of the painting, and then I've just started again today. Yeah, struggling a bit with my speed. I just need to practice more. So you will have just seen the camera switch off and on. I have troubleshooted that problem and I think I can fix it, but I will not be able to fix it today. So you'll just have to deal with that for the moment. Happens sporadically. Hello, James. Thank you for staying up, mate. Quite a boring dude, so hopefully I won't put you to sleep. Yeah, so I'm tossing up at the moment on whether I want to do some face paint or I'm going to do blood spatter. Just not sure if I want to do something else to help. Because my biggest issue with this piece at the moment, I feel like we've got a lot of similar tones. So you can see the skin tones, sort of warm colours along with the grey hair, which is quite warm, and the metals are also quite warm. So I was thinking of something to add some visual interest, some colour up here. So I added these little bits. But yeah, some face paint is sort of something I'm considering. I don't think I want to match him with the girl that I did because she has very cold skin colours, very cold tones. And this guy's sort of the opposite of that. He's very warm. So at this point in time, I'm thinking I'll have them be fairly separate. I'm also not happy with this travesty. Might see if I can fix that now, actually. Some of that, anyway. Just referring to a piece of artwork that I downloaded to assist my tattoo painting. Broken Links. This is the brand that I use, the Winsor & Newton Series 7. I have used them for a very long time. Very recently, I added the Broken Toad brushes to my arsenal as well. I tend to prefer the Winsor & Newton because they're slightly shorter length bristles, but the broken toad are a very equivalent quality. So, and I think they're a little bit more consistent with their quality as well. So, yeah. James, I don't normally work on the back, but one time I do try to is when you have a circular base. And again, this is caveat this and say I'm pretty bad at it. It's usually when I'm interested in painting the back. And the reason why I decided to paint this guy's back is because when you look at the shield from this angle, and I feel like people are going to turn around and look at the shield, the back's quite in view. And I was looking at that tattoo and just sort of continued to look around, and I felt like it needed some work done on it as well. So I'm just looking up my tattoo design. So I'm sure this is riveting stuff. All right, this will be interesting. I'm going to try and zoom the camera in a little bit for this. See how that goes. Too thin. So I'm not really much chop at small details like this, but it's one of my goals for this year is to try and do some more small detail work. And I'm making it significantly harder on myself by trying to do it with a big old camera in front of my eye line. So we'll see how it goes. And if you are wondering why this looks more black than the green underneath, it is because it is more black. Because this has had layers of airbrushing over the top. The colors I'm using there are carbon black from Chimera, and yes, a little bit of the Joe Sonia Magic Mix to help flow improve it. But because the Chimera black comes out of the pot fairly thin, I don't use a lot of the Magic Mix in there, not necessary. Boop. So this may look a little bit shithouse at the moment, but I am going to try and make it look less shithouse. And you'll have to excuse my swearing, I'm Australian, by adding some thin lines. in between my lines. And again, just caveating this by saying this is not the easiest thing to try and do on a stream, nor is it something I'm very good at. Yes, James, the effect on the leather is from highlighting and texturing. I will spin the model around in a moment and show you. So the hair, it's one of my favorite things to paint. Skin and hair and metal are my three favorite things to paint. So we've literally picked a model that has all three of those bad boys in it, which is awesome. So the the lighting on the hair is the key to making that look like hair, and where you place the lights, it's different to the way you would normally highlight a surface. And the same with this section, it is all textured, painted with lighting, highlights, and so on. So very good. I'll continue this travesty of a tattoo that I've committed to. Oh, hello, Dodge, my great friend. How are you, buddy? Yes, I don't normally stream. It is something I started tonight, mate. I decided to pick something very, very easy to stream with in this excellent tattoo that looks absolutely dog shit. One of the things I don't do often enough in my little toy soldier painting is small detail work. And the only way you get better at things is to do those things. When are we playing TI Dodge? Koki reckons he's not playing this weekend. What a joker. Yes, the lockdown was devastating for our Twilight Imperium plans. Reasonably good for my toy soldier painting plans. No, James. We're traveling pretty well, but Dodgy Dave and I live in Brisbane, and we went into a 3-day lockdown here because we had one of the viral strains from the UK get into the community through a cleaner. So our city was put into lockdown for 3 days so they could go in and do all of the required contact tracing. And we had a game of Twilight Imperium planned, which we unfortunately had to cancel, which is a bit frustrating. I think that's looking a little bit better than it was before, which is cool. So I'm just going to give this. Yeah, how good was wearing masks, Hamish? Loved it. I still have to wear a mask. Do you still have to wear a mask, mate, when you're at work? Yeah. Sorry for the hairdryer in advance. Archivic, I have been painting miniatures for about 20 years and display figures for about 4 years. All right. Tough decision time. I think I need to mull over it some more. Might just do some wood grain. That's not a bad idea, Hem. Some body hair. Hard to do body hair on a grey-haired guy, though, I guess. I don't know. I've never thought about it. That sounds like a fun Google search. Let me know how that goes. I will not be participating in said Google search. Yeah, what do I do when I see a mold line? I usually don't worry about it. There's 2 in this guy that I've missed. There's one just here. And there is a little minor one here. But yeah, I don't generally worry too much about it. There's a few things you can do with your painting to sort of paint around the mold line, particularly on surfaces that you have texture on. And hair's one of those ones that's relatively easy to paint texture on. But yeah, sometimes you just miss them. And unless you're doing something specifically for a competition, it's rarely something I worry too much about. One time I do make the final changes on mold lines is just after I finish the zenithal highlight. So that's often the time when you see a lot of the lines that you've missed. You can fix them up then. But other than that, I just don't worry about it. And the reason I don't worry about it, and this is probably sacrilegious for those amazing painters out there, but I just paint for fun, and cleaning mold lines for hours on end is not fun. So I just don't do it. Rob, I believe the stream will be available later. Yes, as long as I can figure out how to save it to YouTube. I am glad you have enjoyed my videos, Rob. I think airbrushing is something that as you learn more about, the more you realize you've got left to learn. So I feel very similarly to you. All right, time to get out one of my favorite colors. Ibox brown. Yeah. Super cool color. Has a satin finish. And I like to use it for just lining some of the gaps on occasion. Helps to bring some separation in. And for example, in this little section here, just help reinforce the difference between the two. And I may add a smidge of magenta into the skin tone with the airbrush. I think it might help just give a few little spots that are slightly different to the rest of the tonality on the model. And that might do. So I have this idea for the face, which is some face paint like this. This will work well, I hope. See the black, but I'm not sure. Not sure if that's something I want to do or not. Yes, it might be cool, but it also could be an absolute awful decision, because one of the trickiest things in doing busts is making sure that your focal points are where you want them. So at the moment, the area that people's gaze is drawn to is this section here, because it's the highest value when you look at the model. That's the area that catches most of the light, in this section here as well. So as your eyes sort of being drawn to the focal points, the face and the hair, that's where you want your viewer to be looking. But if I add a whole big black blob here, then I'm having a focal point, which is this hair, followed by a big contrasting section, followed by more focal points. So I'm just hesitant because of that. That's not a bad idea, Hem. It's not a bad idea. I'm going to do some blood spatter on him later on, which will be cool when he's all finished. But yeah, I've just got to decide if I want to do that or not, really. That's where I'm at now. Pretty happy with just about everything else. Yeah. Having a matte finish there will also work in reverse to drawing focus, because the eye will sort of skip over it. So it's a tricky one, because I think it'd make this model quite unique, but I think it's counterproductive to having this interesting viewing angle here being the area that I want people to look at. It's interesting. Where is my Inktense chestnut? There you are. Hamish, if I had the ability to do a quick mock-up in Photoshop, I would probably do that. However, I do not, because I am woefully average when it comes to computer programs. Actually, not that bad, but when it comes to having a choice between mucking around in Photoshop or just painting some shit and seeing how it looks, I choose to just paint some shit. Because I am a loose cannon. All right. I'm just going to go and grab another model to show off. Yeah, Jeffy, I'm average in general. GT, you know that, mate. So we're going to do some show and tell, just like when you're in school. Just going to show off some other models I've painted. So this is a little dwarfy dude I did not too long ago. He's a fun little dude. Pretty chuffed with how he came out. Did him in just over 6 hours. There's a few areas I think I could have improved. Specifically, this metal area here isn't very good. It's not convincing enough. And this little section of cheek here, I feel like the highlighting of the face is too abrupt. Going from shadow to light too abruptly. It looks okay when you're looking at it from this angle, but if you turn it and look at it from that angle, I feel like it's just a bit abrupt. So anyway, that's the dude I finished the other day. This is the one I'm not convinced about doing war paint on because I just did her recently. I don't want to just rehash the same thing as this chick, so I'm not sure. I like her though. I think she came out pretty cool. Something a bit different for me anyway. And let's see how we go fitting this bad boy on the stream. No, can't even get it on there. That's my Oz diorama. Yep. Nah, too big. There you go. All right. So I am going to call it a day, I think. I don't think I'm going to do that on him. Hello there, Jack. You've sat in this very seat, mate. Yeah. So I'm just going to show how I do blood spatter. I'm not going to do it on the model just yet because I do like to do a wee bit of practice, but I'll show you how I do it. So this is my airbrush. I'm going to put absolutely nothing in it. I'm going to put it on a reasonably high pressure, and then I'll get a little bit of paper towel just to demonstrate on. So I am using this product. It is Tamiya Paint X27 Clear Red Gloss. Looks like this, super cool. So I am going to get a relatively large brush and load up on some of that paint. And then you take your airbrush, hold it close to the model, and spray like so. So this Tamiya is a bit old. Which is why we're not getting a lot of spatter. There you go. That's how you can do some interesting spattering effects. So the main issue with doing them this way is you can't control it. So sometimes you can go overboard. The good part about it is you can't control it. And so you get a very random and natural spattering effect because it is out of your control. I think the natural approach to painting things that are irregular, the way that I've observed, is I'll try to paint something irregularly, and then I'll naturally just want to add something over here to offset something, and then something here to offset it, and it never quite works as well as you would like. So there you go, Jeff Twerk. So you can also use the GW Technical Paint Blood for the Blood God if you can't access X27. The Blood for the Blood God is a little bit thicker and a little bit darker in terms of the red. So sometimes that's good, but it doesn't tend to dry quite as glossy as the X27 from Tamiya. So that's why I prefer the Tamiya. I'm just going to go and do a varnish on this guy, but I'll leave the stream running. Here is a little dwarfy friend for everyone to look at. What an awfully effective way to put that dwarf on there so everyone can look at him. Deno, good for you. Let's try again. Yes, significantly better. There he is. Zoom in on the dwarfy. Boop. 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 Oh, the camling's struggling. Focus. Come on, mate. Get there he is. Hey, little mate. Little dwarfy mate. I'll be back very shortly. Stand by. See you later, Arca. You're a champion. Yes, James, on occasion I do use the glory that is Tester's dull coat. Here it is. I'll zoom out now. It is a pretty cool product. So there's two types of varnish I use. This one, which is the AK Ultra Matte Interactive Varnish, and I really like this for bringing together all of the variety of different finishes that I have on my variety of paints. As an example, there's quite a few paints just here within reach: Scale Fantasy, contrast paints, Intensity, those ones, and then Game Air. Pretty much all of those have a different level of reflectiveness, going from the contrast, which tends to be quite reflective, down to the Vallejo. And of course I've got Scale 75 as well there, which are super matte, and Chimera, which is super matte as well. So using the AK will bring all those finishes together, so it's a more consistent finish. But what I find is when I reach the end of a paint job, I want a slightly satin finish. And so this guy is an example of just that slightly satiny finish. When you turn the light, specifically if you look at this part of his shirt here, you just get a little bit of extra light when it's bouncing off the model, and I feel that just adds a little bit of vibrancy to the colors in some cases. So I like to use the testers once I've finished everything, to harmonize and just add that tiny little hint of satiny finish. It's still a very matte finish, but compared to the ultra matte, it's not as matte as you can get. But yeah, I like the satiny finish. So as an example, this is one I've been working on. So if you have a look at the skin tones between these two, you can actually see this has a duller look. Doesn't look quite as vibrant, and that's because of the AK just causing some dullness because of how matte it is, whereas this guy's just got a little bit more vibrancy in his skin. It's probably a very minor difference. Probably most people wouldn't notice it or pay much attention to it, but yeah, that's why I like that. This guy's drying as we speak from the dull coat, and you can probably see a difference if you compare him to the previous parts of the stream. So let it dry. Coolio. Anyone got any questions before I finish up? Got to go check back on this stream and see if there's any bugs I need to iron out in this stream. Oink, oink. Which one of yours, Hem? Oh, yeah, I know the one that Richard gave me. James, I use them on a wet palette. There he is, Hem. And since I was over at my display cabinet, I also brought this from Roman Gruber. One of the models in my collection. It's quite cool. James, when you say caking up, does the medium sort of dry up on the palette? It may be because the medium is not a good, like it's gone off. I had an older medium that did something similar to that. Also depends on the temperature. So even this stuff on my paint palette will start to separate after about 2 hours on my wet palette. So that can be related to the temperature. Probably what I would suggest is you're using shit paper. That might be something like if the paper that you're using for your wet palette isn't the right type, you'll get either water seeping through, or it won't actually be wet, and so the medium may be actually drying, or it may be a different medium, a medium that's not doesn't work well with paints. You just got to try different products. Sometimes, I mean, as an example, these Scale Fantasy colors and these Vallejo colors are both very similar types of colors, but when I use this thinner, Tamiya thinner, in my airbrush with this color, the paint will start to thicken up into globules and have little spider webs, whereas with this paint, it does absolutely nothing and it works perfectly. This airbrush thinner, which is just the Vallejo airbrush thinner, works perfectly with both of them. So just got to try different products and find one that suits your painting conditions would probably be my suggestion. This is so cool. Benny, you're just getting the end of my stream, mate. I'm just finishing up. Here's where this joke is at. What, you think this plinth's better than my plinths? That is a cheap ass plinth. That is a plastic resin piece of shit and a doorknob. So calm down, mate. I've got these beautiful plinths from Jim's Bases. My plinth game is going good, Hamish. Indeed. All right. We'll call that stream here and see how that one came out. Still just testing various bits and pieces. So once I've got a setup that I'm happy with, I might do some more streaming down the track. Very good. See you all.